Hi, this is Katie of KT and the Squid, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing Berroco's Weekend yarn. So Weekend comes in 3 different weights. You can get it in worsted, DK, or chunky. Each of those weights are going to come in 100-gram hanks. I have the DK here, so that's what I've used for my review. This is 75% acrylic and 25% Peruvian cotton. I was looking online and it was pretty consistent that I could find it for $6.50 a hank, and that was for all the different weights. So if you go into your local yarn shop, the prices may vary a bit, but if you go online, it's going to be pretty consistent at $6.50. When I got my yarn, when I first looked at it, I could tell that there's a decent amount of drape there, you can see. But it doesn't feel super heavy, and that's the acrylic in here. So you have the nice drape from the cotton, but it's not so heavy and weighed down. It's nice, and it's a nice light drape. On their website, they had a full range of colors, from these nice muted colors all the way up to like really bright, like I saw like an almost neon pink on there, which looked like fun. So there's a wide variety of colors. So what I've done is I knit and crocheted up a two swatches, and then I kind of tested to see how it holds up to wear and tear. So we're gonna take a closer look at this. This yarn is a cable plied yarn. So if you don't know what that means, basically we have 6 strands here, and each of these strands has 2 plies in them. And then each of those 6 strands are all plied together to make 1 strand of yarn. The direction of this ply really matters. The single strands here that are 2 plied, these are plied in the S direction, and then the whole thing is plied together in the Z direction. When that happens, you end up with a nice balanced yarn, which makes it really strong. It's going to resist pilling. It's going to have great stitch definition, but you're not going to have any give at all to it. So it's probably not going to have a fabric with a lot of spring back to it. So for my review, I wound a whole hank, and then I worked up a few swatches. I have 3 of them here. I went through the whole hank. I didn't find any, no knots or any uneven weirdness. It was really nice, so I say it's a pretty good quality yarn as far as that goes. So here I have a crochet swatch and then a knit swatch. Both of these I steam blocked, and it responded really well. So here it was a little bit curled up on itself, but by the time I took a little bit of steam to it, it relaxed nice and flat. And both of them, even the crocheted swatch and the knit swatch here, they both have a really nice, fantastic drape to them. And like I said, it's not like a super heavy drape either. So for the crochet swatch, I used my Furls Odyssey hook, which is 4mm. It's a G hook. I didn't have any issues crocheting with it. I could tell as I was working that the yarn did kind of want to split a little bit, but because I have the nice blunt top of my Furls hook, it handled it really nice. I would avoid using a crochet hook with a sharp tip to it. Now, my knit swatch is a little bit different story. I used this, again, it's a 4mm. This is a size 6 circular needles, and they're really sharp. I was constantly splitting the yarn. So I have a few spots down here where I actually split the yarn, and I didn't realize it until I got further up. Another issue, I found that the yarn kind of wants to fly off the needles, and so I was really kind of having to concentrate on my stitching because it just wanted to fly off. And if you look here, you can actually see I messed up in my patterning up here because I was trying to concentrate so hard on keeping the stitches on the needles. And then another issue, because it wanted to fly off the needles, it was also kind of hard to keep an even tension. And if you look at just my stockinette, you can tell that I have pretty bad ladders. because I purl tighter than I knit, and normally I can compensate with an acrylic or a wool or something, but it's really hard for me to compensate with the cotton yarn, so I had a real hard time with that. There's a few things you can do to avoid that. My suggestion would be to use a needle with a more blunt tip. Second, if I were working in the round here, I wouldn't have the issues of my purling being looser, so that's something to keep in mind when you're picking a pattern. Another easy solution for me here was I could have just used a smaller needle to do my purl rows, and that would have been a really easy solution there. The really nice thing here, once you get past all of that, you get these fantastic pops stitches, and they're not really super plump like you might get with a wool yarn, but they're kind of like geometric and like square. Also, like I mentioned before, you're gonna have a lot of stretch, but it's not really springy. It's not gonna spring back on you. I did try an experiment with some twisted stitches to see if I could compensate for that, and it kind of wants to spring back a little, but not a lot. And again, here in like these front and back post stitches for my crochet swatch, it wants to spring back a little, but not too much. This was a swatch I made. I threw it in the wash 3 times. The first 2 times I didn't put it in the dryer because I was paying attention, and in between each wash I rubbed it together, and I mean I was not gentle with it. I was pretty rough with it. The last time I wasn't paying attention and it was in with some stuff, so it went in the dryer, but still it looks great. And I can say up until I threw it into the dryer, it looked pretty much exactly the same as when it went in. After it went in the dryer, I could tell there was a tiny bit of fuzz, but I mean, it's microscopic. There is no pilling at all. I've kind of roughed it up afterwards, and even if I try and make it pill, I don't think I could. So Berroco Weekend has its pros and its cons, but I think if you work more with its pros than try and compensate for the cons, you're gonna have a really fantastic finished item. When you're picking a pattern, I would keep that stitch definition in mind. If you're in doubt, work up a swatch and see if maybe it's a little too intricate, or if you're having issues keeping that even tension that it's gonna drive you nuts. Also, you'll want to keep in mind the issues of the spring back that you have with this yarn. Socks, probably not your best bet here, but something like drapey, lightweight sweaters that you don't want to feel like you're swimming in them because they're so drapey, that's a fantastic idea. If you're a person who feels like maybe you tend to overheat in things that might be either 100% acrylic or 100% wool, this is a great alternative for you because it has just a little bit of cotton in there to make it nice and breathable and light. Something else that this yarn would be great for is something that has stripes, but I probably wouldn't do anything with color work because as soon as you move around or the fabric moves, those colors, the floats behind, they're gonna peek through and it's not gonna look quite as you probably would have hoped. I suggest checking out Berroco's website to see what kind of patterns they have designed specifically for this yarn. They have some really great patterns. So I hope you enjoyed this yarn review, and I will see you next time. Thanks, bye.